Now we know in Farm Sim 22 the repair bill is based on the initial value of the tractor, so how much it costs at new, not how much it's worth now. I mean, you look at this tractor, it's probably worth about 120,000. Shall we have a look? 160,000. So if I sold, this tractor's basic value is 160,000. But for new, it's about 380. So repair bills in Farm Sim 22 would be based on 380. And they wear out just as fast whether you're using a piece of equipment this big or a 3-meter cultivator. So you really want to match your horsepower to your equipment far more, what's the word for it, fastidiously than you would in Farm Sim 19. Because if I start running 3-meter equipment on a tractor like this, my maintenance bills are going to be proportionately horrible. Now, running it on this piece of equipment, I'm cultivating at 9 miles an hour. I'd be cultivating with a 3-meter cultivator at 9 miles an hour. But I'm doing 4 times the work, so I don't mind 4 times the repair bill. And that's really what the advantage of the big tractor is. So that's kind of how we want to look at moving into Farm Sim 22, is to very closely match our tractor capabilities with our equipment capabilities. Don't waste horsepower, don't create a maintenance bill that is more than it really needs to be. So don't run this tractor on a sprayer, because it's overkill and you will pay for it. We missed a bit, not to worry. What else do we know? Oh, Smetty's also introduced, I believe it's a Ford New Holland TM heavy tractor, but only about 200 horsepower, 180 horsepower. Oops. So that might be a thing to look at as well. And this week I have been taking a look at the Meadowlands map. I'm not too sure about how it's going to work out, or how it would work out as a start from scratch. It's the fields are quite pricey. So I may look at new farmer, sell all the equipment and build the farm from there. Although you get about just shy of £1 million worth, well, 900,000 of equipment in your startup. I tend to like doing that because the equipment I'm provided with doesn't always fit what I'm looking to do on a farm. So I like to be able to start with my own equipment. Now I do like, obviously, that the farm manager mode, you end up with more money in Farm Sim 22 than you did with Farm Sim 19. But yeah, it's what, something like about 300,000. It's nice to have. It's not necessarily. It's one big tractor. It's a little bit more machinery, or it's, depending on the map, a field or a couple of small fields. But yeah, it always depends. What do I get if I do a new farmer start? Now, 17 we didn't get the option. It was easy, medium or hard mode, but that just really related to the income you could expect from your grains. So hard mode, you would earn at a rate of 25% what you would in easy mode. Now that's still true, but the hard, medium, easy modes are divorced from the start. If you do start new farmer, then you start in easy mode, but you can edit that. And as I said, easy mode dictates how much value you're going to make your crops are. Oops. Nearly ran away there. So this is not going to take us too long, I guess. Well, no, because the field I'm guessing about has barley in, so I really don't want to mess with that. We'll just plant sugar beets in this field and the one we had. Which one did we have potatoes in? Was this field with potatoes? I can't even remember. But I'm sugar beets in 2 fields. We're not doing potatoes anymore. I tried out the new equipment from the Grimmer DLC, and while it's very realistic, it's just frustrating, especially for single player. So I'll kind of give it a skip. The advantage with the sugar beet equipment is even the tractor hauled stuff has a sufficient working width that you can get a worker and then babysit it with a cart. So it's not a huge issue. The potato equipment's just horrible. It's horrible working width. And just and I think, oh no, we didn't put this might have been a canola field or sunflower field last year. Well, but yeah, I mean the potatoes, we harvested them, we rode them. The worker was having issues harvesting and missing vast tracts of them. Picking them up, we couldn't then go back and harvest bits of the field because I really couldn't tell where was potatoes and where wasn't potatoes. So I had to pick up all of the potatoes and then go back and manually harvest tracts of ground, and at 1.5 meters per pass. That's a horrible job. It's like why I like this job, because 12 meters we are hauling through this field, and really at the in the grand scheme of things this is not taking us very long at all. Oh, now I do have to go and analyse the soil in our new field. That's another thing one need to take a look at. We'll probably end up doing that in the Valtra. Actually, thinking about it, I don't want to spend too much money right now. I do need another flatbed module and a animal module for our truck and trailer combo. And those are probably going to set us back about 100,000. And while I don't need the flatbed module immediately, we've got a bale collector, so I can use that to collect bales on the field. And we're not going to be making bales till the end of spring, end of late spring. So no rush there. Typically it's for moving large amounts of bales to the store or to the BGA. Now for that, I do want the truck trailer combo, because that'll allow us to move 36 bales at a time, and our previous semi truck could move 30, I want to say. So that gives us 6 extra. And then sheep moving, we're going to be moving about 52, 56, I think, with a truck trailer combo again. So that's kind of a good thing. I mean, the truck we have is definitely an upgrade, and it definitely cost us a bit. But at one point we were actually up over, probably over 1.2 million pounds in the bank. We bought $1 million field, or £1 million fields, so that's why we don't have much in the way of money left. This is actually probably the quicker axis, since we can drive in a straight line for longer. Marginally less turning around. Unless I went down the diagonal, which also an option. Anyway, this is almost done, so good with that. But we did spend time stocking the sheep fields this morning. So not too overly concerned with the time. As I said, we've probably got about 2 hours more longer today. And then we'll have to call it, because I have to do things. Maybe I'll go down the diagonal. So I relocate to the other field and we'll jump back to the farm and get everything set up for planting here. Maybe. That could take us a while, depending on, as I said, how much seed we have. And we may end up having to take a short trip to the store with the Land Rover to pick up another pallet. Right now, that is what I would call done. Not too bad. So that's our first field. 20 is the second. This is all planted with canola, that's fine. I believe that is rye, which we haven't done yet. And then these two we're going to plant sunflowers in, but I can't do that until I think mid-spring and the temperature's right. So, oh, I also didn't look at the ground temps. Ooh. Might not be planting anything because sugar beets need 41 degrees. Well, yeah, there you go. And that 42 at the top, that's the air temperature. I need the ground temperature to be 40. So it may end up being a couple of days before I can do anything there. It might be that we could really go to town on our new field and maybe get some slurry into it, digestate into it, and really work it up, ready for the sunflowers. Although, no, that might be risky because there's a crop of miscanthus in it, and I don't have a forage harvester, so we've got no way to harvest it. And I don't think, even from a field that big, the income is going to be sufficient to cover the cost of a forage harvester. So I'm going to plough it all in. By ploughing it in, that will increase the nitrogen levels of the field. And sunflowers are a very low nitrogen requiring crop, and I really don't want to end up with the field overly nitrogenated, because that could cause a lower yield. So we kind of want to be very, very careful what prep we do in this field at all. I made that mistake with a couple of the clover fields. I ploughed in the grass. I made the decision, since the sheep predominantly eat mostly clover product, and clover product's easier to store, that I should probably just replant all the grass fields as clover and use that to feed the sheep. And it's worked out quite well for us. But the issue was, for that first year, I ploughed in the grass, I put digestate down on the field, and then I planted the oh, Starbucks64, welcome, and thanks for the subscribe. 5 months. But yeah, I planted clover in the field, and then I checked and I discovered that we had double the amount of nitrogen content in the field. And I really do figure that adversely affected the yield on those 2 fields that we had the clover in. And sunflowers risks the same thing. I mean, while you don't want to use artificial fertilizer, I do think that having that on reserve is kind of handy, so that you can, you know, if you spend a lot of your time either oilseed radish or digestate, and then you go and plant the crop, you will know exactly what nitrogen levels that crop needs, and you'll be able to top it off with the artificial fertilizer. And doing a top off just keeps your artificial fertilizer costs down. I mean, you could skip artificial entirely if you want to, but it may you may not get the bestest of ever yields. But if you've done everything else, like the oilseed radish and or slurry digestate products, then you should be reasonably okay not doing anything extra, unless it's something like corn or wheat, which are very high nitrogen demanding crops. And the same with lime. Base game, they tend to say, or they tend to require you in the base game to lime your fields every third harvest. However, running precision farming, you don't have to do that, but you can see the sort of the 0.025 or 0.125 drop in pH every time you harvest. That, every third harvest you might want to think about topping it off. And of course, if you're doing that, you're not going to be using a lot of lime, because it's a proportional spread. So you could lime after every single harvest just to keep the pH high or at ideal levels, and you should use as much lime doing that as you do if you're liming the field every 3. But your yields will be better on harvest 2 and 3 if you do that. It's just time you put on the tractor and everything else. So it turns out I'm not going to run back to the farm, get the seeder. It's not really a big field, so it's not taking us that long to get done. And as I said, we can't plant anything because the temperature's too low. So I think once we've finished with the I call it ploughing, but yeah, once we've finished with the ploughing here, I'll probably run down to our new field in the Valtra, and we'll do some soil analysis there. It's going to cost us an arm and a leg, I think. Now, there was a mod in FarmSim19, which we're using now. There is a mod that you get the option. Go here. If you click on a field, there's an additional button that says do soil analysis, and it'll charge you an arm and a leg to do it, but you don't have to drive out there and analyze the soil. It just wait 5 minutes and you get the results of the soil analysis, but you pay a little bit extra, a lot extra. Let's just say it doesn't save you any money doing it that way. If you do the analysis yourself, it'll save you money. Although you have to buy the analysis tool, which we have, so not a big deal. Now, it's FarmSim22. Giants have said we're getting that ability already. So again, it's another one of those. Someone makes a quality of life mod, and in the next version of the game, Giants say, that's a good idea, we'll include it. So I'm using vehicle control add-on, I believe, for allowing me to shift into forward and reverse, all included in the game, and shifting gears is included in the game for FarmSim22. Seasons, again, you have seasons is now incorporated into FarmSim22. In some ways it's worse, in other ways it's better. So I'm not, it's different. It's not better or worse, it's just different. And it takes a little bit to get used to different. And there's some other, there's other things as well which we've now got, which completely escape me for now, but it's sort of, oh, that's now in the game. That's nice and handy. Workshop tabber is now included in the game. Brilliant. I mean, it means the guy that does the Workshop tabber mod doesn't have to do it for Farm Sim 22, but it means he could do something else. I think the biggest shortfall we have at the moment is new maps, but I don't know, maybe I'm forgetting, because in the past when we've moved our Saturday series, I've really said I'm waiting until we have seasons, and seasons is usually a good 6 to 9 months into the year before we get it, by which time there are a plethora of maps to choose from. Whereas with 22 it's already there. Precision farming is coming out next month, probably 4 weeks after our new little tiny tractors. So we're about 4 or 5 weeks away from getting precision farming, which is another mod I want to play with on the Saturday series. So the question is then, how many good maps are going to be out in that time? And really, we have been starved for good maps. But, back with 19, we had Marwell Manor from Oxygen David. Nice map. Can't fault his work. His work is brilliant. But the problem I had with it is I've got a couple of really huge fields, and that can be a problem for streaming. Hi Society 420, good morning, welcome to Saturday morning on Oakfield Farm, I guess. So, it's his farm, his maps are awesome, absolutely beautiful, very, very, this is what England looks like when you look around here. But he can only produce one map every 9 months, so we're not going to see Court Farms until gone Christmas this year. And he's not doing rehashes of any of his previous